Hi and welcome back to the channel. So today I am going to have a look at the preset manager in DeepMind using the app. It is obviously available to download for PC and Mac, and you can get that from the Behringer website. And there's also a DeepMind 12 app for iOS iPad, so you can get that from the App Store. Install that as well, which I have done and it works, but I have been losing connection, so I've been sticking to USB. So the first thing you need to do is back up synth A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H, because these are the ones that are actually on the DeepMind. So the little computer symbol, and then if you go over to here, you can see these are all ones that are purely on my computer. So the best way is to look at it as the left-hand side, treat that as your DeepMind 12 hardware, and the right-hand side as your computer. The easiest way to do that is just to click on the bank and then duplicate bank, and it will get a copy over on this side, and then it'll come up as synth bank A copy, and then when you do, you just click on it. So for instance, click on it, and then if you hit enter, you will be able to rename it, and I've renamed mine as factory banks. So we've got 8, they're not in order for some strange reason, and I can't seem to reorder them. So I've got that's them all, 8 of them there. So that is a straight copy of the original synth banks that you get, because synth bank A is a compilation of banks B to H. So if you go into the banks, you'll see, so if we go into the factory banks, you'll see that bank A is completely different from my bank A, because my new synth bank A is 50 pads and 78 ambience. So if I scroll down, you can see this is what I've done. I've created a complete new synth bank, and it is all my favorite pads, and then it goes onto all my favorite ambience so there's 128 presets in each bank. So if that is this on the right hand side in factory bank A, this is the original bank, and it is pads, ambience, effects, polys, ARPs, none. I mean, why even have a none category? So they're all mixed up. So the first problem I had when I got this was, I want to go to the pads. You can't just go to the pads. You have to go through each of the factory banks and find the pads. So some have got a lot, some have very few. So generally the banks B to H are normally one sound designer. So this one is BC. As you can see, every single preset is BC. C is RD. Now, some of them are missing as well, and that is a glitch in the software. So if you want to see what that is, you just hold down the one that you want and hit enter, and it will come up. So that is Cloud Castle RD. It's just a glitch, so don't worry about it. The preset is actually there. If I double click that would actually load. So you can see there's quite a few that have not come over, and it is just some sort of problem. Bank D is KA, and his are pretty good. So RD and KA are probably the best sound designers, I think. KA's got a lot of pads and ambience, and then E is ST until about 39, and then it's got a kind of compilation of other DG, MS, DK, RB. F are mostly RDs again, and yeah, F is all RDs, and G is KA again. So yeah, so that's how they've done it. So if I click on a pad and hit category, you can see that is the category. So they've got none. What is the point in having none as a category? The sound has to be something. So you've got bass, pad, lead, mono, poly, stab, SFX, ARP, and sequence. Now, they could have easily just used the 8 banks as bass, pad, lead, mono, poly, SFX, ARP, and sequence. You don't need a stab category, and you certainly don't need a none. So that would have been the banks A to H. Now, in my humble opinion, that is the way to do it, not scatter them across 8 banks in no order whatsoever, purely by sound designer. It just doesn't make any sense, because the first thing you want to do is, if you're looking for a preset, you want to go to the category. And I thought, right, maybe that's just the hardware and I'll be able to do it on the software. But you can't. You can't actually just show all the pads together in anything. So the first thing I did was set up a best of pads. So I've gone through all the pads from A to H and copied them into this. So that I've just created a new bank by hitting new bank, renamed it, by pressing enter and renaming it, and then copied them all over from the computer side into this. So like I said, I've got 50 pads. So that says ambient. So I could change that because it's ambient in, but it's actually a pad. So if I want to change that, I could just change that and change that to pad there. So that's how you do it. So that's the best of pads, and then I did a best of ambient. As I said in the last video, the ambience I actually prefer to the pads, which is, you know, quite unusual. And I've got more ambience, and you can see there's more missing names. So if we hit enter, that's Rise Up RD. So I have got 79 ambience. So obviously I'm going to kind of do this for some of the other categories. So for instance, I could do this for the bass, the polys, whatever it might be. The pads and the ambience are kind of the main thing that I would be using it for. As I said, Synth Bank A is a compilation, so you're not going to lose anything. Once you've backed this up, you're not going to lose anything. So I've copied the best of pads over, and that all came in 1 to 50. But the problem is, if I wanted to copy the best of ambience from 51 onwards, you can't do it because they're numbered 1 to 78. So if I had started at a different number, it might have been able to do it, but I didn't. So I had to copy all these individually. So if we go to the ambience, so go down to the ambient. So the first one is 1 in here and then 51. So if you want to copy that over to here, if this was a default patch, you just click on that and then copy to left. And then you can favorite it by hitting the smiley face, so you can switch them off and on. So that's basically the favorite. Instead of using a star, they're using a smiley face, and that is just awful. I mean, why not just use a star like everybody else? So I had to go through each of these and copy them over, because if I had copied this over, it wouldn't have gone from 51 to 128. It would have, because I obviously did that and it didn't work. What I should have done was done a best of pads and ambient and filled up the whole of A. But so that's a tip as well. If you're going to do a best of, fill the whole bank and then copy it over, and then you don't have to do it individually. So that is kind of it. So like I said, first thing to do is just duplicate all the 8 banks and then rename them as factory banks, and then you can set up a new bank and go through. So I'm going to put my synth bank on the store so that you can download it and then copy it straight into bank A, and you'll have all the pads and ambience. So it'll save you doing this, because it took me freaking ages. If you want to find where these are stored, there's a folder called FAT12. It's not the easiest thing to find, so I've put an alias on my desktop. So this is the FAT12 folder, and it has my bank. So you can see that is the backup of the banks A to H, and these are the ones that I've downloaded, and that is my copy of Synth Bank A. So that is today's copy, so I updated it today with a few more pads. I will put a copy of this on the store to download. Synth Bank A, you can copy that in and you will get all the pads and ambience in one whole bank, which is a lot easier than faffing about going through 8 banks to find all the pads and ambience. So yeah, so like I said, I might do this again for some other categories, maybe like the basses or the polys. I don't know, we'll see. And then I can put them on the store as well. I'll leave a link in the description for that. And as usual, if you are enjoying these videos, please like, subscribe, share and comment. And I will see you in the next one, which will be a kind of best of pad demo.